I've even tried to get to. I'm open to go to Vegas. I'm open to go to, of course, Segerstrom here.
Yeah, that'd be the easiest
You
one.
know, but wherever they'll take me, because getting an official ticket is not in the cards for me, I suppose.
Certainly is not easy.
You know, so well, Alma, thank you for coming in to meet with us today. I'm going to give you a copy of this because this is what we're going to go through.
Yes.
We are issuing a written warning based on some of the details that came out of the investigation.
Okay.
And so, I gave you my copy also. And I thought that
It was a two-pager.
right.
So you have.
I have one copy.
You don't make another one?
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll give that one to you.
Okay.
But ultimately, this written warning is based on the outcome of the investigation. Remember, if you recall, we had two going on simultaneously,
Yes.
right? So first was the incident that Pete was reviewing about the inappropriate comments, about the sexual orientation discussion that was taking place in the presence of coworkers that led them to feel uncomfortable. There was that, and then the incident that happened 425, which was the incident that you were placed on administrative leave for pending the outcome of the investigation, which is what we spoke about.
So that's a written warning for being on administrative leave?
No, the administrative leave is not.
It's separate.
It's not disciplinary in nature, meaning we had to separate these two events because they had occurred, number one, so close together, and then the intensity or the level of the climate at the program between the two of you escalated to a point where it was becoming a distraction in the program, becoming a distraction in the workplace. So therefore, we needed to make that decision to have you removed from the premises in order to be able to do a thorough and objective investigation.
Okay.
So the written warning is based on, number one, the inappropriate communication or conversation about sexual orientation and gender identity, which is a violation of the law. Okay. And it's not conducive to the working place. It's just not needed here. It's not business related and shouldn't be taking place.
I understand that, but there's a lot of more stuff that I would like to focus on. And the letters that I sent to you about Pete, about what's been going on, about that day that you questioned me when I came for my lunch, and you were already...
Let's go through this, because this is what we're addressing right now. Your email and the information that's also in this investigation was also included as a part of the process.
I have everything,
Yeah, so we have copies of that. We have the information that we've reviewed thoroughly as a part of the investigation process, in addition to receiving witness statements and other information applicable to your comments, as well as the information received about the other party and what occurred. So I don't want to rehash too much of what emails you sent, because we got those and we talked about that over the phone, and I got that information from you. So we're completely and clearly aware of that, okay? Okay, so I'm just going to read this to you, right? So the written warning is being given to you for the following reasons: a violation of Telecare Anti-Harassment Policy G4, Code of Conduct number G120, threatening, intimidating, injuring, or attempting to injure residents, clients, or members, coworkers, or visitors. G143, sexual harassment of fellow employee or any type of bullying or intimidating behavior. So, based on the outcome of recent investigations, it was determined that Alma demonstrated poor judgment by initiating an inappropriate conversation that was of a discriminatory nature based on an individual's sexual orientation. This conversation took place in the presence of her coworkers, causing them to feel uncomfortable. In addition, Alma admitted to threatening a coworker by stating she had to tell the coworker that she was going to call the program administrator because the coworker does not listen, and it must be because the coworker is young and does not have the work experience.
What is this?
Alma insisted that the coworker needed to listen.
No, that is all incorrect.
Alma, this is information that was obtained through Frank when you spoke with him on the phone. These behaviors are unacceptable as they present a high level of risk to the program and company. They are also in conflict with Telecare's goal of maintaining a workplace that fosters mutual respect, promotes harmonious and productive working relationships. The plan for correction is that it is expected that you will maintain strong boundaries by adhering and abiding by Telecare's harassment policy G4. In addition, you will refrain from using any type of implied or explicit threatening and or bullying behaviors towards coworkers or clients within the workplace. This also includes conduct that may be perceived as retaliatory or passive-aggressive towards individuals who are participants in a good faith investigation process. Alma will communicate her concerns to program leadership in a reasonable time frame or as soon as practical, rather than waiting until a situation escalates to bring it to their attention. Additionally, she has been assigned mandatory completion of harassment training refresher course via Relias Learning and mandatory completion of cultural diversity course via Relias Learning. Both courses are to be completed within 5 business days from receipt of this disciplinary action. So this is the outcome of both investigations combined as one because they happened a couple days apart. All we're asking, Alma, for you is to go ahead and sign and date, and then Pete and I will sign and date as well.
I refuse to sign and date.
That's
I
perfectly
think
fine.
at this point it's gone already too high. It's too much with Pete. Nothing. It always seems, Taya, that everybody who's gone to you, everybody who's always had complaints with Pete, there's Pete.
Understand this issue is not about Pete. This issue is not about Pete. This issue is about your conduct and your behavior in the workplace on those 2 occasions.
This is
Okay.
me getting in trouble for something that I felt I was being harassed. I was being intimidated. This is not, I will not sign.
That's completely okay. That's completely acceptable. We will document that you refuse to sign,
Mm-hmm.
and we will still add that to the file because it is considered a disciplinary action for your behavior in the workplace. And just to be clear,
Mm-hmm.
that the behaviors are against the law and they do present risk to Telecare. Hence the reason for the written warning is that we have to make it clear to you and any other employees that participate in behavior that, number one, could present risk or exposure to Telecare. We have to address it in a manner that promotes the harmonious workplace that we're trying to achieve.
That's exactly why I made this complaint and many others that I've made, because it's not harmonious, it's a hostile work environment. And Taya, it's incredible that, this is what came back, it's.
So are you saying that you take no responsibility in participating in the behavior in the workplace that has come to this point?
So I never said that. But it isn't true that I made a threat to this young boy. Everybody talks in the.
We're specifically speaking about you, Alma.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I made a comment about my neighbor. So it's just, there's worse things that were said about other people that.
Let me give you an example of the way what you're saying to me sounds. I'm the police officer, and there's tons of people speeding by me, and I don't stop any of those people, but I pull you over, and you tell me everybody's speeding, but I specifically saw you speeding, so I'm specifically addressing your behavior in the appropriate way of breaking the law by speeding. So I really want you to understand and focus that this is not about everybody else. This is specifically about the outcome of the investigation and what was pulled from the details of that investigation, an overall theme of what was occurring. And that behavior, again, was a violation of Telecare policy, as it would be if you were speeding, a violation of the rules of the road, right? So I just want to be clear that you hear that, Alma, because what you're continuing to say is that It was everybody else. It wasn't me. This place is this way. But at this point, this is the issue that we're addressing with you here today. There are some additional comments or additional feedback that I wanted to share with you that came out of this process. Although not a violation of telecare policy, they raised some concerns about the work environment, the team environment, and being able to successfully move the program in a direction that's healthy for all team members involved. So I do want to raise those and bring those to your attention. But Pete, if Alma and I have another place to meet, I think that it would just be appropriate for she and I. Can
Sure.
we meet in the sunroom or
You
somewhere
can meet
else?
in the sunroom. I can step out of here if you need me to. So you let me know what's.
Probably the sunroom is probably okay.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have any questions or comments for Alma before she and I step out?
No.
No? Okay. All right. So you want to?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I just don't want it to. I want the message to be clear about the importance of the level of professionalism that we expect in the work environment. And like I said, this is just some feedback that I want to personally share with you as a result of what took place or what came out of the investigation. Again, like I said, it's not violation of policy as
I
much.
put immediate supervisor. I put an administrator.
No, that's fine. I'm going to just sign on the bottom anyway. I just think it's important for you to be aware.
Yeah, thank you that you're taking the time in a very kind way to speak to me.
It's the 8th. I hope I got it right. I'll make a copy of this.
Sure. Just scan it and email it to me if you don't mind.
Well, I was gonna make a copy for Alma.
As well. Well, Alma has a blank copy, but maybe the signed copy is official. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm gonna put in the employees who
Yeah, you
refuse
could
to sign.
put that.
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. You want to just bring it when you come? Or are you going to make it out? Oh, I forgot you have
This thing is slower than slow.
Okay, well, just bring it and knock on the door.
You got it. You
We'll
got
be
it.
in the sunroom.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Hopefully no one will walk.
There were 2 people meeting in there, but they, I think, left.
Okay.
The door open?
Yeah, we're good.
Then you probably got it.
We are good. So
Sorry, Kaya, but this is not.
I understand, Alma, but understand the position that the work environment is in.
That's why I've been emailing. I've been trying to, because I already know that it's not healthy for no one. It's hostile.
Right. So just made some notes to myself based on some of the information and the feedback that came out of the investigation, and I thought that I would just kind of address it with you that way. And it's not to punish, it's to be aware of what's occurring and what's taking place or what's being said, right? And you being most likely the senior person here at the program who's been here
9
probably
years today.
the longest, right? Is it
9
9 years today?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations on your 9 years.
Yeah, telecare.
Yeah. So here, this is some of the additional feedback that I felt it was important to address with you. Specific feedback received was described as not performing some of the nursing duties as assigned, but rather delegating these duties to the RCs and placing pressure on them to get it done, which gives the impression that she is the manager and everything needs to be done to her specifications, such as going to pick up medication. RCs have been willing to do it when it doesn't impede on their duties, but it is not their priority or responsibility. Another example is gathering clients for the doctor. It can be a joint effort, but the primary duty rests with the nurse. And then faxing the medical records should be more of a joint effort, and the majority of the load should not fall on the RCs. Alma's participation or support in this has been very limited. So there's 3 areas that were of concern in terms of you delegating duties down to the nurses. And they said most agreed that they could understand if it was being done to help out the team, but that does not appear to be how it comes across. Instead, it seems that she just wants to be in charge and manage everything.
That's their opinion. With all due respect,
Sure.
Taya, there's only 2 RCs in the afternoon. One is Eddie, which is, he's fairly new. The other one is Marcy.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other one is Marcy, who they both offer themselves to help out.
So let me finish, because that is some of also what was being stated. So that most agreed that they could understand if it was being done to help out the team, but that does not appear, like I said, to be how it comes across. One of the statements or one of the comments is that, you know, most of the time they are, and I don't see it on here, but I can share with you just by way of memory.
Mm-hmm.
They have been willing to support any one of these areas. However, the difference is that if you are requesting them to do something or to help, the message is almost as if Alma is pushing us or pressuring us to do this when it's actually her responsibility to do this. And it wasn't just Eddie and or Marcy. Understand that. This is a common theme or a general statement that was being made, that I'm bringing awareness to you. So that way you can be mindful and aware of maybe, number one, your approach, number two, what duties are yours to own versus what the RCs are to own. Because, you know, some of the conversation was like, it hasn't been that Alma does not, or she wants us to support her and help her, but Alma does not offer her support to write a 5150 or to fax, I guess, the medical records in some cases, or to provide emotional support to the clients as the RCs do. So the message is really, if there's going to be some take, there's got to be some give, and vice versa. And it's appearing or feeling one-sided.
So that is their opinion.
Sure it is.
I have been here a long time, and I know my duties very, very well. The last time there was a medical record that was in the RC and was brought in by Eddie and put it in the box and told me, here, you're going to be doing them. I'm not doing nothing for you. There's been certain things, Taya, that I bite my tongue, and I work very hard here to get a lot of my work done. As you know, I mean, I've been here a while.
Sure.
I don't know the 5150s. I've never been asked, and the clinicians have been here when there's 5150s. If anything, they ask me to, they don't ask me, actually, I know what to do. Get the face sheet and get the med sheets and bring them to the clinicians. Make sure that...
So you do know how to do them, but you have not been asked. Is that what you're saying?
I have not been asked, but I take initiative to do it. It's my responsibility is that they leave in the ambulance with medication, the MARD. Mm-hmm. So the nurses at the hospital know, because I work at UCI too, so I get the patients from here over there, and it is helpful that we have the MARS. I also print out the face sheet, and I assist. Been doing this 22 years. I know. Mm-hmm. I have not been asked to do a 5150.
I don't know if it's an issue of being asked to do the 5150 as much as like what you mentioned about taking the initiative to help support the team.
I do.
Meaning, again, and this is, like I said, general common theme, another person's perspective.
Yes.
But I just want you to be aware of what it appears to be like in the work environment as a common theme about Alma's behavior / participation in it as a team member. So that's what I'm saying. Not so much about the steps and what needs to be taken, but as in a general common theme. And that's what this is about today. And I felt it important and necessary.
It is.
Outside of the written warning, because that is remaining and that is something totally separate.
Yes.
Although it's kind of combined in the fact that this is the information that was also coming out of the process. So, like I said, not a violation of policy, not disciplinary worthy, but important, a special note.
Tanya, I'm going to be very honest with you.
I want you to.
I've known many people that have reached out to you, and this has been a very big concern about Pete and the way he talks down to us, the way he sometimes I would say bullies me or bullies Marcy or bullies Meredith or bullies.
Now, I want to not rehash what has already been investigated and determined to be unsubstantiated, because you did mention that, and that's another thing that I have here. So can I, because we're talking about it, let's go there. So you did reference to the prior complaint, which was investigated and determined to be unsubstantiated, which was last summer. To my knowledge, there has not been any other complaints filed by you or any other staff members about the administrator since then. So the individuals that you mentioned, Meredith, Marcy, I've spoken to them, and there has not been any additional information as a part of that, which you initiated as a part of that original complaint. I did reach out to those parties.
You know why? Because they all say that nothing gets done.
I can't help that. You understand that, right? What can I do if you've reached out to me, I've investigated, I've reached out to those parties as witnesses to go through the process. They have shared information and details with me. And again, I can't share the details that they've shared with me to you. However, the information, what you say versus what's being said isn't congruent. It's not aligning. It's unsubstantiated. Therefore, we have to stay in that position. Now, if there's been other things that have occurred since then, we're not aware of them. So that's all the information and the details that we have. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make a particular note to you about that, because that was referenced in your email about the previous complaint from the administrator that continues to
Yeah, he does continue. Taya.
But that information, again, nothing since we concluded and closed that investigation has come forward. That's where that lands.
I don't know if you guys called in the person who was there that day that overheard me yelling, "Where's Alma? Where'd she leave to her lunch early?" There was a person who actually...
Did you name them? Did you share that with us?
I think I put it on...
Did you text me? Was that Marcy?
That is Marcy, yeah.
We did speak with Marcy as a part of this current process.
Okay.
Information that was obtained in that obviously was different from what you're telling us. What you're saying verbally versus what information was received on the other end.
Okay.
Isn't in alignment. So I can't be a part of the back and forth if the individual does not choose to participate in a fair and good faith investigation process, truthful and honest, so that we can gather the facts and the details of the information as it occurred. We only have that information based on their information or what they observed and what they've shared with us. And so that's, again, what she's telling you or what you're telling her is two different conversations than what's being shared on the back end. Again, our goal is to conduct a thorough and fair investigation, and we rely on the facts and the details and the information from the witnesses.
Oh, yeah.
We really rely on that.
No, yeah, okay. I feel comfortable enough to talk to you right now.
Sure.
And ask you so many complaints, so many people that I keep going back to Pete, because I feel that you guys need to talk to him or coach him because part of what's going on here, there's a lot of division, and this place is very hostile, but it starts with leadership.
Understood.
It starts with the division. It starts with the favoritism that he does show to certain individuals. People are either scared to say something, or people have said, I've told HR, but they don't do nothing about it. So
I'm going to stand on where we are with that, because number one, I cannot get involved in the conversation of how Pete's discipline is handled or how Pete's behaviors are addressed. I can't do that with you. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. And second, what can HR do with a person or individuals who are fearful of speaking up. And then when we do approach them one-on-one in a confidential place outside of the program, where the setting is comfortable and open and inviting enough to be able to have open conversation and open dialogue like you and I are having right now, and it doesn't happen, or it doesn't take place, or they're not truthful, or they're vague in their response, or they don't give the details. That's the information that we have to go by.
Everybody's scared. Everybody says the same thing. Nothing gets done.
Okay. You understand, we've conducted focus groups. We have
There's a lot
invited conversations.
There's a lot of new people, Taya. So a lot of new people that I've seen here, being here so long. And there's right now a lot of new people. And when we do the surveys, even Jackie, I believe, had mentioned that we have a lot of new people that don't know. And of course, they're going to put something nice, or because they don't know any better. People leave. That we never have staff. We're always short. Why? Because everybody gets tired of what is happening and they'd rather not deal with it, or him, and they leave.
Understood.
I haven't left because I feel I love telecare, first of all, and I love what I do. But I want to feel respected by Pete. I want to feel that he will leave me alone and let me do my job to the best of my ability.
Right. And I appreciate that about you, Alma. I appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
But I have to go back to when this original complaint was investigated, and we talked through that. And then Pete talked through what that was going to look like. In addition, spoke to the individuals at that time about that particular complaint, about that investigation, and the details and the finding of that information was not substantiated. There were some comments about Alma perhaps being sensitive and receiving or taking very personal some information. And again, recognizing that everybody's skin is thicker or thinner. Some people may be able to receive certain information, some people may not. So their perceptions of what's considered disrespectful or what's considered some of the things, is different. So for one person, that may not be their space or their particular perception. And in general, that was not the theme, or that's not what was being shared. And so I'm going to stay there. I'm going to stay there with that one. Just another thing, and these are observations too. The timing of the information that Alma shared is of particular interest if none of the issues mentioned were brought to the attention of HR or program leadership. As indicated in Alma's email, Eddie's use of profanity in the workplace was ongoing, but she did not raise these concerns before being made aware that she was the named accused in an investigation alleging harassment or discrimination. Now that, I'm recognizing that you told Pete and Susan the day that you were being interviewed about Eddie's profanity and speaking about Meredith. And then you followed up and sent that email to me and I think Dr. B.
I don't know. I don't remember sharing that with them. Because it happened that afternoon after I met with them. He started talking about Meredith taking FMLA, and he started saying the F word, and
well, you did mention that to them because that was part of the first investigation. So I was not involved in investigation number 1 or 2.
Correct.
However, I did receive the reports. I was involved in investigation number 3, which is this one that we're talking about, right?
So,
however, number 2 and number 3 technically happened about a week apart from each other, week and a half maybe, right? So investigation number 1 is where they asked you or questioned you about the gay neighbor conversation and discussion. But in that, you shared with Susan and Pete that you had a whole lot of information about behaviors that Eddie had been doing that you had been documenting. So that's what I'm speaking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me, I want to go back a little about Eddie. This is, and I'm this was not documented, but it maybe should at this point because this has gone too far. If I come inside the RC office, the chair I sit in is sprayed with Lysol.
The chair that you sit in the RC office is sprayed with Lysol, but your office is in the med room.
When the doctor's here, there's only one office that he could use, which is the med room.
Okay, so chair in the RC office is sprayed with Lysol.
Every time I come in, and this was witnessed several occasions that I came in because I'm getting the clients for the doctor, and I sit on a chair, and this Eddie gets the Lysol and sprays it down. Like, to me, that's very disrespectful. There's a lot of things. That's why I keep a file of a lot of
Let me ask you about this, though. What's concerning to you about spraying? If this individual, and I'm not making excuses for him, I don't know if he has OCD, I don't know any of his personal things, but perhaps that chair, because I believe that's also the chair that he uses to sit in as well.
No, not exactly. There's a black metal chair that I sit, and that's the one he will spray down. And yes, I have sat on one of the chairs. That's not his, it's everybody's in the office.
So any of the chairs in the office,
yes,
anybody's free to sit.
He will get the Lysol and spray it down every time I come in and sit down. Like, and it's very disrespectful. I was working well. Everything was working out fine. So there's been a lot of conflict with this individual, Eddie. Dividing, a lot of division. He's divided a lot of us.
What kind of examples about division?
Division. He goes to the clinicians and sides with them, and he has even told myself and Marcy, I can't tell you guys what I just talked about, or a phone call that one time Danielle called and mentioned something about one of our clients, and then he got off the phone and said, I can't tell you guys what Danielle said about the client. And we're like, why not? We're a team. Kind of playing.
Was this part of what prompted the exchange between you and him about the micromanaging comment that occurred on the 25th?
No.
The PM shift?
No.
Okay.
That day, Danielle was in the hallway sharing information with Eddie, because she doesn't share information with us, critical information, and we had a client who was in crisis, and I overheard Danielle telling Eddie something about that particular client. The doctor was there at that moment, and I interrupted and said, Danielle, can you share that information with us too? And Eddie turns around and says, stop micromanaging us. And Danielle even went like that, like, oh my God, like, I don't want no part of this. And she's all, sure. And she came in the RC office, closed the door, and she said, this client is this and that, this and that. And I told Marcy was there too, and we both told her, thank you, Danielle, because we need to know. The doctor's here right now. I need to know so I could let the doctor know. If you share information just with Eddie, we're not going to get the information, and we need to be part of. And there's been a lot of division in that way.
Okay.
Now, when I say favoritism, Taya, I mean Pete coming in, going to high five, getting on the internet with Eddie, and looking at scoreboards.
Okay, we're not going to go back through that.
Okay.
Because that is part of that second investigation.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Which I wanted to, again, let's see, where did we leave here? Okay.
No problem.
Yeah. So the other thing was that was really important, is that you were advised that Telecare requests full cooperation in any investigation process, and to use best judgment and discretion when discussing investigations with others, and not to interfere with the investigation in any way by talking with other employees about the allegations or the subject matter of the complaint, and to find out what others know or to influence the outcome or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It was told to us by others that you have been sharing and even possibly bragging to others about making a complaint against Pete. And most recently with others about the situations occurring between you and Eddie.
I haven't been here.
No. Before you were placed on admin leave, obviously. But the reason why I'm bringing that to you is because you mentioned the sports comment, right?
Yeah.
As favoritism, but not acknowledging the comments that were made, or maybe perhaps not understanding how inappropriate discussing the gay neighbor is in the workplace. It has nothing to do with the work environment, has nothing to do with the business environment, and it's illegal. Talking about sports and high-fiving your coworker, your staff person about maybe the winning team is not inappropriate, and it is not against the law.
But okay, I get that.
Okay.
The favoritism is very obvious.
So first the favoritism was, and I'm taking you back to June.
Mm-hmm.
First it was with, I can't think of his name right now. He's been here a little while now. First it was with him, and now it's with someone else.
I don't know who.
Oh, gosh.
What do you think?
I would have to go back.
There's only two long-term guys here.
When I pulled in, he was sitting. Mark, I think it's,
Mark. Probably he's been
when
long.
we pulled in, did
yeah,
you see
he was wearing a red shirt, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has favoritism towards males. He will high-five them. He will talk with them. He will come into the RC office, and I'm old school. Being in the office, him coming in many times won't even acknowledge, hey guys, to us who are coming in from the new shift, especially myself and the lady Marcy, he ignore us, won't say a word to us. I came to Pete's office and I have told Pete, I need you to please communicate more with me.
Now remember, we talked about that. And so are you saying that no behavior changed from our conversation? Nothing improved?
No, he doesn't talk to me.
Okay.
So I don't want his friendship, Taya. Sorry to interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want his friendship.
I understand.
All I want to work is in peace, and because I play a big role in the PMs in the med room, I need to talk. I need his support. I need him to check in with me, especially after a crisis.
But when is he not supportive of you? Because, and I'm taking you just staying with this investigation.
Yes.
Because your emails state that Pete didn't support you, or you don't feel supported. But again, that lack of support, based on the feedback, again, from the investigation, is that you didn't feel satisfied with Pete's decision to put Eddie on a 15-minute break to go outside, get his composure, cool off, and come back. You were not happy with that. You were dissatisfied with that. And you then sent the email saying Pete doesn't support you.
Of course.
So, but understand, the administrator made a decision that he thought was the best decision for the program, regardless of whether Alma agreed or liked it or not.
Okay. If I'm sitting here, Taya, and I'm a guy, and we're alone, and he found the time to find me alone, and gets up, and I put it exactly how he got up and told me, don't you be telling Pete. How he said it to me, how he's reacted in the past where he slammed things and scares me, I got nervous. I called Pete and I told him I was scared. And then Pete tells me he's going to give him a 15-minute breather. And then he said, well, you could go if you want.
Yes. And that would have been a decision.
I'm not going to abandon the patients.
Okay.
It's patient care.
Okay. And that was the decision that was made. I want to be clear. I want to make sure that you hear that while that might have not been the decision or the outcome that you, Alma, would have desired him to make a different decision, he did not, because he, the administrator, felt that was the appropriate position to take at that time.
Fine. But being here and working under fear is very, very hard.
So that was part of the decision, again, to remove the fear the safety concern, the intensity of the level to which these two situations had escalated,
Mm-hmm.
that was the decision that was made to address exactly what you're saying. And that was to place Alma on a paid administrative leave. That was to isolate the incidents, to be able to look at what was happening in here at that time, removing any of those elements of fear, safety, harassment. So that was that next step, and that was what that decision, why that decision was made. And that was the same, explanation that I provided to you over the phone when you were asking. We have a responsibility to make sure that that occurs. At that time, in Pete's opinion, it didn't rise to the level of that. Perhaps.
If someone is, you've seen them, I've worked with Marcy and Eddie in the afternoons when we're alone, and I did tell this to Pete when clinicians leave, when he leaves, that's when the door slamming starts. That's when they're hitting and they're getting upset at certain things that don't go his way. He did admit he has an anger problem. He did admit he got fired from his last job because of that issue. But it scares me when he got up and did that to me, Taya. When I say that Pete doesn't communicate, that's totally different. Pete is not communicating with me about patient care. Nothing changed from the last time.
So, if I recall correctly, the conversation, what you were desiring in terms of communication at that time was not communication about client care. You were desiring communication and feedback about performance and how Alma was doing, and information and details such as that. So now I'm hearing you say something separate.
That's separate. I wanted to check in with him every month, and I still do, because I care enough to know how I am doing. I care enough to want to know if there's any feedback, any suggestions, anything I need to work on.
Now, I'm going to challenge you a little bit on
this.
Mm-hmm. The reason why is because I have documentation where this invitation for a meeting to be able to have conversations between Alma and Pete, setting meetings and establishing meetings where Alma doesn't respond, or then she'll respond maybe 2 days later and then provide another feedback and say this date, and then not show up. So I just want to stay there and challenge you a little bit, because my understanding is that this is.
Oh no, I would never leave Pete hanging for anything that has to do with a meeting like that. I have all the emails as well. Okay. One of them, we were supposed to meet and it didn't happen because I was hospitalized for 4 days at St. Joseph's, which Jackie has my doctor's.
Is this when we were going kind of back and forth about the appropriate documentation that we needed from you to release you? Was it a hand or was it some?
Yes.
I remember.
But I was hospitalized twice.
Okay.
So between those times, we attempted to meet, and we set up a day and a time, but I got hospitalized 2 times.
Okay.
For a couple of days, and I have doctor's notes and the days I was at St. Joseph's.
I've seen those.
So I would never leave Pete hanging.
Okay. So that's of a particular note, but that's outside of what we're discussing, though. You understand that?
And if I don't answer, it's because I'm in the med room at PM's. It's very busy, and I need to focus on what I'm doing. So it wouldn't have been the same day. I probably would have taken a couple of days
within a reasonable time.
Yeah, but never did I ignore the invitation. I put down myself for focus groups, for the HAT interviews. I try and get myself involved, if anything.
Okay. That was it in terms of for me. Was really just about maintaining that level of professionalism at all times and being aware of how things come across. Like I said, I've taken some notes as well, Alma, because I felt, like I said, that these were important, but I've taken some notes on some particular things, which is the spraying of Lysol in the chair, the 5150 comment, the division,
division.
and then no communication with Pete about patient care and scheduled meetings to have those conversations. So I want to just encourage you to maintain that level of professionalism. Whatever was taking place here in the work environment has risen to a level where it's a problem, where it's a risk, where there is exposure. And I know that you've been here a long time. You have the ability to lead and set an example and set a tone for this environment that is up here as opposed to participating here.
How can I do that?
Shut it down. Shut it off. If it means you stay in the med room, then you stay in the med room. If that drama is taking place in the RC room, you don't have to be a part of it. Or if you are in the RC room and you hear it, it's taking place, you have the ability to shut it down. Or you have the ability not to be the boss or the manager or having a certain expectation of this young boy who does not have experience. You have the ability to say, hey, you know what? That's not appropriate here. That's not how we operate here. That's not what we do here.
I cannot.
Or if you cannot, you take it to someone who can.
Because my words will then be
documenting it and writing it and holding on to it and not doing anything with it does not serve the entire program. And I'm not just blaming or attacking or getting on you.
No, I know you're not.
Okay.
I know you're not.
Because it's not that as much as you have the qualities for so much more. You have the qualities for so much better. But for one reason or another, you allow yourself to step into that place, that negative place. Rise above that negative place. And that's what I'm saying. So if you hear it, if you see it, if you don't feel comfortable addressing it in the moment, which personally, that's the best approach to take, is, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Pull the person aside. You gain more respect. You gain more respect by saying, hey, Eddie, I'm not telling you to do that now or after the fact, because of where it is now. It's escalated to a point where that respect would be difficult to acquire. But for the next person or for any other future encounter, take that 2 seconds to say, hey, Taya, can I talk to you for a second? Let's go to the kitchen. Let's have a cup of coffee. I just want to talk to you, bring something to your attention. Or, hey, do you have a second? Can you come into the med? Oh, we can't come into the med room. But, hey, wherever you can pull someone aside.
I feel
briefly
comfortable to do that with anyone right now, with the clinicians, with anyone at this point. But with Eddie, if I go in the same room, he'll leave.
That's probably okay right now.
We need to communicate, Taya.
Yes, but I'm looking at it from the position of...
It's patient care.
Yes, but I'm looking at it from the position of right now, and we'll address that behavior specifically with Eddie, because it is patient care and you're absolutely right. However, to the extent or to the level of where this has gone, 3 investigations in 45 days is excessive.
And I will continue if I feel that I'm being harassed.
Absolutely, I understand that. However, the first incident, the pipe and the marijuana, Alma was holding text messages from months ago, and then chose to report it 9 months later.
Yes.
5 months, 6 months later. Yes. That was of a personal nature that was brought into the workplace. Number one, so at some point you guys were communicating, were friends, and were interacting and dealing with each other.
I don't think we were ever friends. I was afraid of his explosive behavior.
Okay, so however that took place, however the pipe got in your car, however that took place, there was that situation, and then Alma holding information. But just listen, just hear me out. and then dropped it at that time. So then that was that, you reported at that time, and then you did say you felt harassed. I respect that, I understand that. That investigation was also resolved, closed. And then, I'm gonna say maybe 2.5 weeks later, here comes the inappropriate conversation.
Yeah.
So then the roles were reversed. First it was Alma making the complaint against Eddie, and then the second was Eddie making the complaint against Alma. And then this third incident, I can't say that it was either individual making a report, because just what happened, it was both.
It was horrible.
It was both individuals. So you have 1 and 2, and then you have combined. I'll just kind of say it like that, because it was both. But I recognize that thing happened because it's a combustion of everything else that had already gone. And so I do respect and understand that you can't have that conversation with Eddie. I do respect and understand that in this moment, as it is right now, Eddie is making a decision to remove himself from an environment. That's how he's handling it right now. But yes, patient care is important, and that will be addressed.
Yes, it's only 3 of us in the afternoon.
We have to communicate.
And we have to communicate, and I've seen that he withholds information. I'm in the med room. I need to know certain things that are going to affect the clients. My biggest concern is leaving my shift and knowing they're all alive and they all got their meds, and there's anything that I need to know as far as sending them to the hospital. We've had this conversation, him and I, where he tries to play nurse, and I have told him many times, please direct them back to me. I have been doing this 22 years. I need you to let me do my job. It's been a struggle with him where it doesn't let me do my job, and takes the initiative to explain a medication, takes the initiative to talk to them about some health issues that I need to know about, because who's the one in charge at the end of the day? I am. And I know he's been here 8 months only, Taya, but I've been here 6, and to me it is critical that he doesn't withhold information, and he sends them to me and let me do my nursing, LPT, meds, and whatever I need to. That is my biggest concern, is leaving here and making sure they're all alive and safe.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and I'm hoping that you have taken some time to think about how do you move forward from where it stands now. The investigation has been concluded and closed. All of them. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
You still have 2 people on the PM shift.
Yes.
There's only a total of 3.
Yes.
2 which have some challenges with communicating with one another.
Yes.
And then the 3rd, which is Marcy. Right?
Yes.
What thoughts do you have about being able to move forward? What would you like to see happen?
All this time, I just want to work in peace.
Okay, but what does that mean for you?
In peace? For me, a big one is communication. That's just a big one that I will always.
So communication between you and Eddie to work in peace.
Because
I'm talking about
patient care.
How do I don't want to say 3, because Marcy, unfortunately, is placed in the position of being the 3rd person in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing that you desire communication and working in peace, that communication must happen between 3 people. How are you and Eddie, how do you foresee, and I'm asking you, how do you foresee being able to move forward in the level of communication that you need to have, that you desire to have, because it takes 2?
I will continue doing my job to the best of my ability. I will report any critical information to them. And I would hope in return it would be the same from both of them. I don't have a problem with Marcy communicating.
No, we're not talking about, yeah.
But I do have a problem with Eddie withholding and taking matters about medications or any medical stuff to himself. I'm concerned. I am concerned because I want my shift to go smooth, and I need to know if there's anything critical or not withholding anything.
So the biggest thing is not withholding information.
Yeah.
That's what your expectation is about being able to work in peace on your shift.
Yes. If I ask, I don't want it to be taken as, I don't want my words to be twisted. That's why I'm scared to even engage in any meaningful communication about a client, because at this point, he thinks that I'm bossing him around, or I'm being mean to him because I'm older, or I don't know exactly what his... But I do have to I do redirect them when it's about stuff that pertains to the bedroom, and I do remind him, I know you've been here 8 months, Eddie, but take some suggestions because Marcy has been here a while, and so have I. So we need you to follow our guide sometimes. He's fairly new and jumps right into stuff.
Okay. So your plan is to, I guess what I'm asking you is, and I'm trying to figure out how to say that, how will you facilitate and encourage that communication? Because again, it can't be one-sided where Alma is saying, listen, take some direction, we've been here longer. That, personally, if I was sitting in that seat as the newer person, I might take offense to that. I might see it as two people ganging up on me. I might. You've been here this long, I've been here this long. Both of us have been here this long. You've been here this long. Listen to us. Hold on one sec. So I understand that it's gotten to a point for you where you don't care to or can't or don't feel comfortable in engaging in any meaningful communication as it relates to patient care because of his response, his reaction.
His reaction more than
his
anything.
Response. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the question is how will we move forward from this day forward with the same 3 individuals working the PM shift together and trying to achieve a goal of quality patient care. Each person has a responsibility to encourage, participate in that process so that it is happening, right? So what is Alma going to do to encourage some of that? I heard what Alma desires.
Communication.
I heard what you desire, working in peace, reporting, not withholding critical information, also having healthy communication and dialogue about the same thing, right? But how is Alma going to show up and participate in that process? That's what I haven't heard. I heard what you want, what you desire, but I haven't heard how you
would like,
take a role in a position in that.
I would like for you to help me with this and guide me and maybe tell me how, because Talia, I don't know how no more.
Understood.
I'm very...
That's fair. I actually appreciate that more than you giving me something that you can't or don't feel that you have the ability to right now. You know what I mean? I appreciate that more and just saying, hey, I don't know. I got to throw up my hands. I don't know anymore. I appreciate that. So, a couple things is you attempt to speak. A simple hello, and it doesn't have to be a hello, Eddie. You know what I mean? You walk into the RC room, hello, hi guys, how's it going tonight? Walk out. Go back and do Alma's work. Also, some of the things, like I said, some of the common things, and these are the things just to be mindful of, because I believe these things will make a difference. they will make a difference. Going to pick up the medication on your own.
I have when I have time, yes.
Right, but if that's the nursing duty, don't put that or delegate that to the RCs.
Per Pete, I can. Pete said that I could ask the RCs.
Right, you can ask them, and they have been willing to do it. But if they are being taken away from their RC duties to do that, then that does put a strain. So just hear me out. That puts a strain. That would be me. I'm an RC. I'm working with a member or a client in crisis. Alma has meds to pick up. Alma has a patient, whatever. I don't know all the nursing duties, so understand that. Mm-hmm. But Alma has other things going on. Mm-hmm. But Alma knows this ultimately is Alma's responsibility. Mm-hmm. Alma's got to manage her time appropriately to say, you know what, I need to set this aside for now. I got to go run to the pharmacy to go pick up the meds. I recognize, Taya's got a member that she's addressing right now. I cannot put that on Taya because I've got my own stuff going on. I see she's got her own stuff going on too. I need to be considerate enough to recognize that it's not their responsibility, although if they have time and can do it, then sure. Or, Alma, come here, this is another example. Hey guys, this is what I have on my plate. What do you guys have on your plate this evening? How can we work together to accomplish all of these goals? Taya, can you go pick up the meds at Rite Aid? And maybe perhaps when you go and take your lunch, could you just stop by there on your way back from lunch to accomplish that? I have the floor covered. I'll write the 5150. I'll fax the medical records while you're out doing that. It's an exchange.
There's a lot of, I wish I could.
But this is what you're asking for help on, right?
No. The only
in terms of approaching and communication or how to rebuild that.
Let me go back a little, Taya. The only person that is, actually there's two people that are very willing to help with that. Very willing is Maury and the new girl Heather. Very willing. Marcy, I don't ask her because a long time ago she told me, no, I'm not going and that's it. Okay, I could respect that. Eddie, the day that he called me those times at night, the next day when I came, I told Eddie, I'm not going to ask you to pick up meds because that was what he was upset about, that I had asked him and I had to leave early and he got mad. He got here, didn't see me and got upset and started calling me. And I made it clear to him, I'm not going to ask you to pick up meds for me, Eddie. I am scared of how you react when you get upset. You scared me, I said, and for that reason, I'm not going to ask you no more. I did not ever again ask him since that day that I came back the next day from that phone call that he made to me.
Okay.
He volunteered one time after that phone call, which I have the dates here. He volunteered one time. And I even thought, okay, that's nice. He's in a good mood and, he's being helpful. And I said, yeah, okay, Eddie, that's cool. But I had made a promise to myself that, it
wasn't going to happen again.
No more, because I already saw how it could get ugly with him if, if it doesn't go or he doesn't feel respected or feels that for some reason. So I made it a point to me go.
Okay. That's fair. I'm just giving you some ideas because that's what you were asking is like, I don't know, help me. So one, like I said, is you, and because you have the position that you're in, you have the ability to influence a positive dynamic. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that to say, take that, rise to that next level, the higher level. Hi guys, how's it going? Hey, what do you guys have on your plate? Almost kind of like what occurs in a change of shift meeting, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the next shift is now handing off to the next shift. And in that conversation, there's these duties, or these are the things that are talked about, or this is the member that was going through a crisis. The member is now sleeping now, but however, this is what occurred. Those things are happening kind of at shift change, right? But because your team, the three of you, is small, and it is your PM shift, after change of shift happens, and it's just the three of you, okay, guys, we heard what happened in shift change, or we heard what was said in shift change about blah, 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 blah. what do you have in front of you this evening? And you guys have your own little mini shift change or shift duties.
I would like that, Bataya, because I'm not in shift report. Because
oh, you're not? Okay.
The nurses, we have to do report. We have to count narcotics.
Oh, that's right. At the end of the shift, you're doing your own handoff.
So 3:30 comes. I do rely a lot on. So what happened, guys? Anything I need to know?
But change that approach. Just like I'm saying, come to that next place, that next level. Yeah, hey guys, what happened at shift change? Hey guys, you have a minute to sit down. Let's talk about our plan forward this evening. It encourages communication about patient care. It encourages improving healthy work relationships, trusting work relationships. And it also puts ownership on everyone that's sitting in that mini shift conversation, right? So it's almost like, okay, team, shift change happened. I've passed the meds. We've done our count for tonight. Yeah. I'm on. Alma and Eddie are on. I'm sorry, Marcy and Eddie are on. But hey, let's regroup. Let's have a conversation about what we're going to accomplish tonight. Okay, Marcy, can you go to Rite Aid tonight? Or Marcy, what time are you taking your break? Eddie, what time are you taking your break? Alma, what time are you taking your break? All right, so Alma, while you're taking your break, I'm going to do XYZ because there's a little bit of quiet time or a little bit of downtime in that period. I'll fax the medical records. Alma, you go ahead. Just so then the way it's like, okay, we all have a plan. We're all moving in the same direction. We know what the ultimate goal is. So by the time the end of our shift has occurred, we've been able to check off. Maybe you guys set out a goal of accomplishing 10 things, but you only accomplished 7. But you guys worked together to accomplish those 7. And then you hand off those other 3 to the next shift, or you come back the next day.
In my shift, when I come in, I have a list. I'll go by. I have 20 things that are very vital that I get done on my shift. As important, transcribing doctor's orders, faxing the orders, counting the narcotics, recounting at the end of the shift. So I have a go by at the end of the shift. To me, that's like my blessing. I did the best. I completed this. They have their list to wash the dishes, stuff like that.
Make the beds, yeah.
So when the doctor is here, I usually never ask them. As a matter of fact, Marcy was the one that day when it all went bad, Marcy said, we're going to help you get the clients so you could take your lunch, so we could all take our lunch appropriately. And then she said to Eddie, I need you to help out with the clients. And Eddie said, no, that's the nurse's job. And that never came from me, Taya, because I know that is my job.
Okay, that's fine. But again, that was how it was handled. And like I said, there's other ways to approach achieving that same positive environment that you desire. Maybe Monday nights, it's Alma who kind of leads the little mini shift change. Maybe on Tuesday night, it's Marcy. Maybe on Wednesday, it's Eddie. Everybody is participating in this process. It's not all on you, so you're not going to look like the big bad Alma every night that Alma's telling us what to do.
I don't.
It won't appear like that because you are being inclusive of each other. You have your list, they have theirs. Yeah. But we know at that 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. there's a nice window of time to be able to have some freedom to do some other things, to help out. Maybe the clients are sleeping. Yes, you can get your list of 20 done, or maybe maybe you got your list done, but they didn't achieve all of theirs.
Maybe in one night out of the week, Taya, because I did bring this up to Pete, that he slams us with 3 to 4 admissions on the PM shift.
Okay.
And I did mention to him that doesn't allow me to give them a good patient care and the time for me to do a good assessment on them. That only makes me do, you know.
Okay, so that's fair.
I asked him if he could spread them out.
I don't know that they can, because I don't know that they have control over it.
Well, I have asked that he doesn't slam us, because it just doesn't, it's not fair to the client coming in that they bring 20 meds and the other one 2 meds and the other one 3, and one takes them at 5, and I still haven't gone through them. And to me, I'm doing a disservice. And
So those are the times where you shut your door. You can't help the RCs. You might not be able to have this little mini shift thing, but what you can do is you can communicate, hey guys, tonight I'm swamped. You won't see me. I will be behind closed doors because I have a lot of work on my plate. If you need me for something, don't hesitate to knock, but I can't promise that I'll be able to help you in the immediate moment that you need it. But I will tell you, I'll be with you in an hour or 40 minutes or...
I welcome them to come in. I even tell them, Eddie and Marcy, you guys don't need to knock. Just come in, because I'm going to be there. And I'm gonna be...
but if that's creating a distraction from you accomplishing what you need to get done, all you have to do, it's an open door policy.
Yes.
However, you also have to have a closed door policy.
Yes.
For those times when you need to focus on what you're doing. And all you're doing is establishing that and setting that boundary up. It's not to say I can't be bothered, but it's also saying don't come any old free time. You, Alma, have the ability to set that standard or set that tone so that you can get what you need to get done, and then maybe be able to support them as they have their list. Alma, I can't go get meds today. I can't go fax, medical records. I can't gather the patients. All I can do is make the beds, do the laundry, cook the food, clean up the mess that the member made, or sit with the member because they are dealing with some stuff right now. I can't be distracted from that.
I can't do that because the last time I did, Eddie said I was withholding medication from them. He said I was not giving it to them, and he came in.
Right. So, but that's I don't want to keep going there. We're trying to go forward.
Yes, I want to go forward.
So you're asking for guidance in areas to improve or to encourage that desired place to work in peace.
Yes.
So I'm giving you examples of how to do that and to be the bigger person in some aspects, in some areas where you can. So if the desire is to work in peace and you need some help with how to do that, these are the examples or the guidance that I'm providing, so that way you can hope and help to move forward. Because that was the question.
That's a good...
Yeah.
No, I love your suggestion.
Yeah.
I do.
It's going to take all of you.
It is.
It's going to take all of you. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and I'm not saying that you instantly need to go back and do all of it. Bit by bit, little by little, you establish trust, you establish relationships, you help improve. It's everyone's responsibility. It is. It's everyone's responsibility. We can't keep going, he did this to me, he said this to me, this is, How does it get better? How does it get better?
No.
It won't. So one person says, enough. I'm going to make a quality decision to not operate in the same way that I was operating and interacting with you before. I am making a choice to do better, to do different, perhaps even approach you and ask you, hey, this is where we landed, this is what the situation is, we had a tough time with each other, what can we do, what do you need from me, what do I need from you in order to make this go better or different? That is a very mature person. That's a very mature person, and it takes a lot to get there. But I do believe with your strength, you have the ability to be that person, but you got to dig deep. It takes a digging. It takes a digging. I mean, I think about situations where been with family members. Those are the people that are closest and near and dear to you. And those are also the people that hurt you the most sometimes. But because they're your family, you love them enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying you have to do that at work,
Mm-hmm.
but because they're your family, you love them enough to dig to that place, to pull out a little bit of something different,
Mm-hmm.
to show up differently, and to acknowledge and recognize whatever part you played in the disagreement, whatever role you played in how this all came out with family members, to be able to move forward. Same way with the work environment. Although you don't have the same responsibility to them as you do to your biological family, but because we need to work in an environment that is respectful, that is courteous, that is harmonious, that is effective, that is focused on the ultimate goal of quality patient care.
Equality, yeah.
Sometimes we got to dig deep in those places too. We love our jobs enough.
I do.
It might not be our family, but we love our jobs enough to not want to come into these doors feeling that sense of tension. And the only way to remove or release that sense of tension of yourself is to be different, or to show up different for yourself, because you want the clear head, you want the clear heart, you want the clear stomach. You don't want this.
No.
You know? So
I'm
it takes a person to dig.
I'm not I don't like to be a resentful person. It's just heavy on me.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not perfect, but I know my job. I'll tell you, I'm very proud to say that I'm a good worker. You know, I get down and I'm very organized, and I do accomplish a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
because I like to be very OCD organized about everything, my stuff. But it is important that, yeah, there's harmony, because it can, and it probably has affected the clients, not just this, also I need more support and communication from Pete.
We'll get to that. I want to talk about, and we have already,
Yeah.
what we're going to do on the PM shift to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's a responsibility that only the staff people can do.
I will take your
Pete
suggestions. Yeah.
cannot bridge or repair
No,
the working relationship amongst. He can't
no,
carry that burden. He can't carry that responsibility.
right.
What he can do is manage and lead and direct, and infuse more communication about patient care and the things that Alma needs. Right?
Fair
He
enough.
can do that, but he can't do this.
No.
So that's what we're talking about, is what thoughts did you have about moving forward? And we talked about them, right?
And I will take that suggestion, the one where you said, we've landed here,
And accept the fact that it may or may not work for the person on the receiving end. Be okay with them maybe not receiving the message that you're trying to send.
I just don't want to tell you the next day that I approached them and
Well,
he got upset.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
I
So
was
don't.
kind of scared too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you don't want to do this
Mhm.
and thrust yourself
Mhm.
upon that person.
Mhm.
Accept the fact that the perfect timing will present itself for you to have that conversation.
Mhm.
And when it comes, it will be authentic,
Mhm.
it will be genuine,
Mhm.
and it'll be well received.
Mhm.
But for example, you and I talking today, and then you go right out and try to talk to,
No.
it's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
That person is not going to receive it,
Right.
because too much tension has
Yeah.
happened, and now you want to come and talk to me? Because
Mhm.
that's the way I would take it
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So you carry on as business as usual.
Yes.
Do little things, because it takes little things to fix a broken relationship.
Mhm.
Hi guys, how you doing? How's your shift? How's your evening? How was your weekend? Okay, you know what? I've got my list of 20 things, and I've got 3, intakes or 4 intakes, and I'm just understand I'm going to have my door closed because I need to really take care of these things. But feel free to call me or just kind of knock on the door if you need something or you need me or have a question.
Mhm.
Bye. Go do your thing. It might be a week or 2 might go by. And now maybe that one evening is the evening that you have a little bit of free time. and you happen to just go pop into the RC's office because you had a little time to kind of just, chit chat, friendly time. And the moment comes up, and maybe it's a situation Marcy's out on the floor, and it's just you and Eddie sitting in there. And you engage in a basic conversation. And you just say, hey, Eddie, how's it going? How are things with you? He may or may not respond. So I'm warning you, and I'm saying this to you. Don't be offended. Don't take it as a negative gesture. Just if he just says, I'm fine. You say, oh, okay, hey, do you feel like talking for a second? No, not really. Okay, well, that's fine. Thanks. And
That's
don't push.
The end of that.
Don't push.
No.
Because if you push, and he's already said, no, I don't want to talk. Okay, I respect that.
Oh,
And you just, okay, thanks. And leave it like that. Or something might happen. And you gotta talk. And then let's say it's, like the situation you described. Hey, Brittany, can you share what's going on with XYZ client? Can you come in and share? Eddie, would you mind having a seat too? We really do need to talk about this. And have a conversation. Then Brittany leaves and you guys are there. And just say, hey Eddie, I've been thinking a lot about kind of what's occurred in the past between us. I know we haven't had the healthiest or the greatest working relationship. I just want to know, because it's kind of been on my mind a little bit, that I wanted to talk to you or kind of approach you. And just maybe we can hash this out or, and then that's it.
Taya, would you be willing to make the same suggestion to him?
Absolutely. I plan to meet with him and have an exact conversation similar to the one I'm having.
Challenge him as well.
Absolutely. I feel more I'm not going to say that. I feel comfortable challenging you because we've had this type of exchange before. And it's been respectful, it's been transparent, and it's been decent. So I feel that I can do that with you. I haven't had, this would be my first one with Eddie, so I have to gauge it and test it and see where this lands. But my intention is absolutely to have the same conversation. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And put the responsibility back on him as well as I am challenging you to put some of the responsibility on you. It cannot happen any other way.
Right. No.
It cannot.
I don't see how we could work if there's no type of a little bit of closure, or maybe a little bit of just something.
The calm. It has to calm.
It has to, because I don't want.
But hurt feelings and damaged relationships take a while to repair, and everybody's level of getting over it, or pace or timing of getting over it, is different. So that's why I keep saying, if he doesn't receive what you're trying to do, don't take it personal. Don't complain about it. Don't take it negative. Just respect it.
Taya, I do carry a notepad and I do take notes, and I don't like emailing you guys. I don't like emailing you. I don't want to bother you. When this happened, I was hesitant. I don't like this, and I felt embarrassed that I again had to reach out to you. But sometimes when things happen and I write them in my pad and I don't follow up right away, it's because I'm hoping things get better. It's because I'm hoping that.
But look what happens when that waiting happens.
It backfired on me.
A lot happened in that waiting.
Yeah.
And I understand you taking the time to process through it yourself to make that decision, but recognize if it doesn't sit well with you, if you have to even take a note and write it down, it's not sitting right with you. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying every little issue, report.
No.
But I am saying if Eddie is on premises using profanity and saying F this B and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and that's affecting this environment, and you're watching Marcy cringe or you're hearing it be about Merida, not okay. That's worthy of reporting in the moment. That's not worthy of jotting it down and sitting on it. Or the other way to address that, and the better way to address that is not going like this, or oh my God, just say, hey, and you know what, that's really not okay. We don't talk about each other like that in the workplace. And excuse me, but can you stop using profanity? Can you stop cussing?
She did tell him.
Marcy did, but you're the one that reported it. We haven't heard from Marcy about that yet. You see what I'm saying? So you were talking about, well, Marcy was there, and Marcy said this, but then when we ask Marcy, Marcy has something different to say, or Marcy is vague, or Marcy doesn't take a position or a stand, and you, Alma, are expecting Marcy to, yep, that's what happened. And it wavers. Then it comes to us. You're saying, well, HR doesn't do anything, and many times this and many times that. We only have the information that we have to go by. So I just say that is, you can address it in the moment with the individual in a respectful way, or you can say, you know what, this is really not okay. I tried to address it with him. He did not receive it, or he lashed out. Now I need to take this to a different, I made the first attempt to address it with my coworker.
I was letting her, Marcy, do all that, like when she told him, please don't say those words. You know, she's a little older, so she's like not, you know, she didn't want, you know, so she put him in check, and told him, you know, that was not right, and this and that. But I usually let her,
that's fine,
deal with him, and I get out because I know that I can't. There's a lot of things that the RCs need to figure out together.
Sure.
And I try not to be part of anything that happens in there.
Okay, that's fair. But again, and I'm challenging you.
Yes.
You have an ability to set the tone for things to be a little bit different or subtle, in a subtle way. I respect the fact that you're a nurse, you have your duties, you have your med room, that's your domain. What happens in that RC office is the RCs need to work out that within themselves. So if that's what you were allowing Marcy to do, is address it and handle it in her way, why did you decide to? Why did you report it? You took that on.
Because you want to know why? Because her response is that he is untouchable and nothing gets done. She that's why when she was out for I think 3 months on stress leave, is for that reason. Karen left saying the same thing. He is untouchable. Everybody who's.
But I'm asking, you took that, you carried that burden and that responsibility. You carried that.
I did.
You made it your issue. You made it your concern. Okay? But you told me you were letting Marcy handle it or deal with it. But clearly you didn't like the way she approached it or the way she handled it, and you felt like,
no,
I need to say something.
No, actually, I like the way she approaches things with him. It's more of a older lady, old school style, respectful. She's like that. I like her ways, but I didn't like what he said about her, because I talked to Meredith and I think she's an awesome person, but besides the FMLA, God knows what she does with that time or whatever. That's none of my business. So when he said that, yeah, I took it personal, just like he took it personal when I talked about my neighbor who's gay. And the reason why I brought that to Marcy was because my nephew, 17-year-old, just came out.
Okay. I read it, so I know what it was about.
So it wasn't intentionally to hurt him. I didn't even think it was going to hurt him, because he has a girlfriend and he would always show pictures, and I didn't think that was something.
Right, you didn't. And it may have been innocent, but it's not appropriate in the workplace. It may have been innocent and there may have been no intention behind it.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
We're sitting in the position as program leadership of looking at, that's a legal risk. We absolutely need to make the message clear that that type of conversation cannot happen, regardless of whether Eddie has a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whether your nephew just came out. You never know what's sitting in Eddie's lap. His mother may have just come out. His father may have just come out. And it may be something deeply personal for him that he is not settled with in his soul. Or he may have no issue with it at all, but then he's hearing this conversation happened. He's like, and that is considered, and it's not to threaten you in any way, but I'm just giving you some legal terminology behind that. That is considered third-party harassment. It doesn't have to be a direct conversation between me and you only, and it's only me and Marcy talking. If someone else overhears that conversation, they are just as much a party witness in it as if they were having the conversation directly.
So that's exactly what happened when he said those things about Meredith.
Right, and we'll address that too. But again, my point to you with that is, you know what appropriate behavior is and what it's not. So I say that outside of telecare guidelines.
No, I know. I've been reading all of the policies.
Right, but if it doesn't sit well, go with your gut. A lot of times your gut does not steer you wrong. If you know it doesn't sit well with you in here, it probably wasn't right. If it's worthy of documenting, it probably wasn't right. Because the things that are worthy of are not worthy of documenting, we typically don't write them down. If it was something positive, wonderful, beautiful, smell good, we don't write it down. We only write down the things that are horrible, bad, smell bad, look bad, are disrespectful, blah, 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 right? So if you get to that point where it doesn't feel good, you know it's not right. And it doesn't hurt to bring it forward, even if it turns out to be nothing.
Oh, that's what my next question.
It doesn't hurt to bring it forward, even if it turns out to be nothing. It gives us the opportunity to address it.
Okay.
If we don't know, we can't help what we don't know. We cannot look into what we don't know about. That situation, the profanity and talking about other staff in a disrespectful, discourteous way, could have been addressed differently. It didn't need to come out of an investigation piece where it's like, well, I have stuff on him.
Well, actually, it was not the first time, but it was not the first time.
It wasn't the first time that he used profanity and said things.
After Marcy had already asked him not to, it was more like he did it on purpose to upset her.
Okay.
But I didn't say nothing. I didn't want to get involved.
Okay, but it's been going on.
Yeah, it had been going on.
But we don't know.
I didn't.
You see what I'm saying? We didn't know, and when we found out was when we're talking to you about behaviors that you did. And then it was like, well, I have this. I've been documenting this. I have been writing this down, and I have all this stuff about what Eddie's been doing and saying. You see how that looks? You see how that appears very retaliatory, very passive aggressive. Although maybe intention was not that. But that is, in the big scheme of this picture, this is the information that we have, and this is information we're investigating.
Oh, okay. I should have said something from the pipe day to the, Yeah. I should have said something, and I was fearful. And
sure. But you're also courageous. You are fearful, and I think that maybe sometimes you second guess what you know isn't right. You set on it because you're hoping it gets better.
Yes.
It just started, and I'm not saying it's all your responsibility. It takes two. It takes two, right? But in the same way that you have fear, you also have courage. Because at some point you got to the point where you're like, I gotta report it.
That was enough.
So it's just a matter of the timing. Don't let 6 months, 4 months, 3 months go by with stuff. You're holding this big old bag of garbage, when if you just dumped the garbage a week following, 2 weeks following, the garbage wouldn't have started to stink so bad.
Very.
Right?
Right.
So that's all from me to you. I'll follow up on some of the things, and I am, like I said, we will be meeting with Eddie as well. We'll have a conversation challenging him in some of the areas that you and I talked about as well. Because the goal here is to have a work environment that is healthy.
Yeah,
and staff that feel good about coming to work.
I like I said, and I will tell you, Taya, I'm on fire for this place. I love this place.
Yeah.
I've been here since we had, what was his name?
I wasn't here then.
Okay.
The previous administrator, I wasn't here then.
So I'm on fire for this place. I love what I do. I have a lot to give. I work at UCI in the emergency room.
Okay.
So I deal a lot with the same clientele from here to there.
So you see the same people?
The same people.
Oh, okay.
So over there at UCI, I do the admission and medications with them, and then I come here and I see them here, and sometimes I want to talk with Pete and give him feedback, or sometimes I need to touch bases, but I don't. We don't have that.
And maybe you won't. I mean, maybe you are wanting something from him that he just does not have.
He doesn't. I asked him if he could debrief with us when we have a crisis. He did it probably one time, and that's it.
But maybe that's, and again, maybe that's a place where you can practice differently. Because you can't be responsible for what I do. You cannot be responsible for what I do, but you can be responsible for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so if it's what you need.
Yeah, what I would like.
Or what you would like.
Yes.
Maybe it's a quick, just an email. Maybe you can't get the FaceTime that you want.
I tried to make those appointments.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Hey, Preet, just a follow up to the crisis that the member had. Member Joe, please feel free to respond, or maybe we can perhaps set a time to talk. Thanks. You're getting it off of you.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going, ugh, I asked for him to debrief. I asked him about meeting to talk about quality patient care. He's untouchable. He's this, he's that. He doesn't do this. He did. What does that do to you?
I don't feel supported. I don't feel liked by him.
So, again, that may not be a bone or a thread in his body that he has to give. Doesn't know how. We all come with stuff of our own. Yes, you expect it because he's a leader. He's the supervisor.
Yes.
He is the administrator of the program.
Yes.
But
it makes a
how can you
difference.
shift that thinking to accomplish and get what Alma desires or what she needs to feel fulfilled in her job?
I'll give you an example. Is meeting with him, the ones that I didn't make it because I was hospitalized.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my intentions because it means a lot to me to know how I'm doing, and that's all I was asking for, good or bad. I was
put it in an email.
And
put it in. Hey, I've been sitting here thinking about my performance. I've looked at my overall month, the last 30 days, and these are some of the things that I recognized about myself and some of my strengths, some of my weaknesses, some of my barriers or challenges. Can we meet sometime to discuss some of my weak areas or where areas were of opportunity for me to improve? Thanks, Alma.
Keep it simple.
Drop it in his lap.
Mm-hmm.
Drop it there. Not on you. Drop it there.
Yeah.
And then, hey, just following up on this email that I sent to you on blah 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 day. Back in the lap. Not in yours. You're not left carrying this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the duty of the supervisor. Toss that ball back. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
some follow up. Yeah.
That's it. So, thank you for taking the
Tanya,
time.
for all
I
your
didn't want the
suggestions.
meeting to be a tense meeting, but I did need to address that with you there in the presence of Pete. But I did want to set this to follow up because it was critically important. Just overall view, overall perception, and to leave you with some food for thought.
Yes.
And tools to go back into the workplace. Number one, feeling okay.
Yes.
Feeling empowered.
Yes.
And feeling like, you know what? That was back there. I won't forget. And don't get me wrong. I understand. You don't forget who you're dealing with. You never forget who you're dealing with because it's just insight, right? Mm-hmm. It's just information. It's insight, which teaches you how to operate with the individual,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know the behaviors, you've seen how individuals operate, but now you're like, okay, I know what I'm dealing with. I can come back to this and do it this way. I don't have to take it personal. I don't have to get any information back. I don't have to participate. But I do have a job to do, and I need to know how to operate within the environment that I have in front of me. That's it. It's just information. And you walk in that, and you go forward. Not into the pit, but forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Alma.
Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome. I know our conversations typically end up being long ones, but I felt that, like I said, I felt like it was appropriate to have that follow-up without him present.
No, I appreciate you
Yeah.
very much, and
And, and like I said, I'm not saying don't reach out, don't send email, but assess what you have in front of you, using the timing
I will think.
sooner rather than later.
Thank
Okay?
you, Tanya.
You're welcome.
I
Take care.
appreciate
Oh,
you.
we didn't talk about the fact that tomorrow we want you to come back to work.
Okay,
Okay.
that's important. Yeah, I know.
So today is the final day.
I was
of the
gonna
meeting.
leave on vacation. Okay.
No. Tomorrow.
Thank
Okay.
you, Tanya.
You're welcome.